Hello, this is Kathleen Monteroso, and this is my interview for element number 8. The interview recording for the principal preparation portfolio. All right, so first question: tell us why you are interested in becoming a school principal. Well, I have to go back to my undergraduate years at St. Louis University. The Jesuits actually taught me and taught us as Billikens, as the quote is, higher purpose, greater good, and that we are put on this earth to serve a higher purpose, and that is to be servant leaders inside of our community, and in turn, we are going to be helping the greater community not only presently, but the goal is to then help and inspire and lead future generations in those specific communities that we serve. That is theoretically what being a principal or an athletic director, I'm debating between either routes, technically is. We're serving the community not just for the here and now, but for future generations of teachers, staff, students, and parents that are to come. We're here to lay the framework for empowering our teachers and staff and coaches to take charge of their professional careers, to grow and to become masters in their content and their craft. Um, and I learned that by having the amazing mentor teachers, coaches that I've worked with and under, and administrators, both in my teaching and coaching career, that they've just helped me grow in my professional career and even my personal life. And now I truly feel that it's my turn to give back to that profession. So, higher purpose, greater good. All right, second question. Tell us what strategies you would use to eliminate achievement gaps that may exist between socioeconomic groups and or children of ethnic diversity. First thing that I would tackle or look into would be ensuring that we have equitable resources and high quality teachers. So, for example, having up to date textbooks, technology, offerings of extracurricular programs and other activities that are comparable to the surrounding school districts of, let's say, my particular school would be in. From a technology piece, I would be looking into working with either Apple, Dell, or HP to potentially start a technology partnership. Excuse me, with those programs, so our students could truly be then one to one with an actual laptop, personal laptop that they could bring home. Um, Looking into grants or ways that we could work with the local cable companies, local libraries, and the YMCA's to offer more internet access for students who do not have internet at home, and places to be able to complete their homework potentially after school. The quality of teachers and staff, as I mentioned as well, obviously must be highly qualified, but from a personality and personnel perspective, their philosophy must be, or having a passion to impact our students' lives both inside and outside of the classroom. That their jobs, first and foremost, are to build those relationships. These teachers are going to have equitable and abundance of access to professional development to enhance their skills, working with students that are coming from different socioeconomic, cultural, and ethnic backgrounds. Is there a way that we can allocate funds in order to have comparable salaries, and then potentially some of the other surrounding districts to attract more of those highly qualified teachers to be at our school and to be working with all of our students, but specifically helping obviously grow our socioeconomic and children with ethnic diversity within our school as well. Another topic that I would be looking into would be early childhood intervention and potential small group intervention. So programs, for example, like Head Start, where you have preschool and kindergarten students will receive one-on-one interventions, helping with their reading, writing, comprehension, basic motor skills, things like that. I personally actually have seen the impact of a Head Start program. I worked with one when I was at St. Louis University for 2 years during my undergraduate time. I worked with inner city preschoolers, and watching the growth of the students that I worked with from day one to the end of the school year was just a leaps and bounds difference in little ones that I worked with, just from a social emotional aspect, just how confident they became, just how more excited they became about coming to school. It truly was well worth it. And that really was my first time working with general education teachers, administrators, and parents, and communicating and being in the loop of that communication piece as a 20, 21, 22-year old student, and how impactful, like I said, a Head Start program is, and obviously how vital that those communication pieces are between your staff and your parents. I mentioned small group interventions. So things where obviously you need to develop and have a special education services and special education programs for our students, particularly offering and developing students that need individualized education plans, or IEPs, and 504s. Those students also then are going to need to be assigned case managers that are going to specifically be developing those IEPs and 504s, and then working with those students one on one, offering co-taught classes, or REI, response to intervention classes, or even classes that are called, for high school level, we call them fundamental. So they're taking the concepts and breaking them down into smaller pieces, and they're smaller grouped classes as well. A third aspect that I would be looking into would be culturally responsive teaching that is embedded into the curriculum and the culture of the school. So the curriculum should be based around the dynamics of your staff and your students. Students should be able to see themselves in the curriculum through, novel studies, documentaries, interviews that students are going to be reading and interacting with in their English or social studies classes. Offerings of different types of clubs and organizations that highlight the different cultures throughout your school. So, for example, having like a LGBTQ plus IA group. We have a Latinx club at Plainfield North. We have a World Culture Fair as well, where students from all different cultures get to showcase the different cuisines, music, dances, and they get to share that with their peers. I believe we have two during the year, and I've been to. I try and get to them as many times as I can during the school year. I try to get to at least one out of the two, and it's really cool to be able to see your students get to celebrate their culture, and they get really excited when their teachers come as well. And getting to talk to them about their culture and seeing them light up about it is awesome that we get to celebrate that. And then that just is able to create an environment where our students feel heard, they feel welcomed, they feel supported and valued, and that they get to share their culture with their peers. Next question. Envision an ideal school: preschool, elementary, middle, secondary, and tell us the three characteristics that would be evident in the setting. And then what are some structures and strategies that you would need in place for these ideal school characteristics to evolve. For me, I'll describe the ideal high school setting. So teaching of the whole individual. So education needs to go beyond the textbook and focusing on our students, morals, emotional development, their social development, and parallel alongside with the academics. So integrating that mental health resources, character education practices, and ethical decision making into the curriculum will be key. Making sure that our students have access to our counselors and teachers that are going to work together to obviously support the well-being of our students. Just teaching our students to work through those strategies on how to cope and handle adversity situations that our students are going through. Obviously, high school students are going through a lot. They're trying to pick their careers, college, sports, their classes, their hormones, their friend groups are going to change, relationships. So we need to be there to help them navigate those things in a positive way. So I talked about character and ethical education. So creating workshops or designing structuring courses that deal kind of with the ethics and the decision making, let's say in like real world situations. So, for example, having a rhetoric class in English where they will be debating and deciphering different types of ethical dilemmas, and they're going to write about it. They'll debate about it in class, and then they'll understand the importance of um, positive ways to engage your peers, positive ways to debate, and be important members of society. Also, like applied courses where students could look across the ethics of business, the environment, and technology. So you might work at a company that might not be doing something very ethical, and how would you go about dealing with that situation working at that company? Um, Second aspect would be student driven learning and career preparation. So students would have an opportunity to personalize their learning where it's all based off of their interests. So if you have students that want to get on specialized tracks like STEM or getting involved with the humanities, business, arts, having interning situations where students can go out into the community and work, let's say, with a local entrepreneur and see the behind the scenes of what it's like to run a business and start their own company from scratch. Currently, we actually have a class at Plainfield North called Entering the Teaching Profession. So, if we do have students that are interested in becoming teachers, this program is partnered with JJC, and there's two separate courses for it. I work with these kids a lot. I have a lot of these students that will come in and they will interview me. They will observe me teaching, and then we'll sit down and we'll actually break down the lessons. So these students do get a behind the scenes idea of what it is like to be a teacher, and they do get to ask some hard hitting questions and get those honest questions answered from us as well. Um, I said going on internships. So we have like Wilco, where we have students that get to go work with nurses at the local hospital. We have students that potentially want to be electricians or welders. They do get to go do that, and they get to work with local unions, and the unions get to kind of talk them through and walk them through all the basic skills and things that they're going to need to do if they are going to want to get into a trade. Dual enrollment programs and college credit offerings are also going to be key. Offering obviously those advanced placement classes, but also offering something we have at Plainfield North called dual credit. So students are working with either JJC or Moraine Valley, and they are obviously taking a course at an accelerated level. That's at more of the college level. They're receiving college credit for obviously passing the course, but unlike an AP class, they don't have the AP test that's attached to it. So that's an option for some students to be able to take if they still want to get college credits, but not have the pressure, I guess you want to say it, of taking an AP class. And the third aspect would be work to have diversity across all levels. So I've said this before, there needs to be diversity in the curriculum, working to ensure that we have people of different cultures, different backgrounds that are also in leadership positions, and being able to foster that environment of it's an open environment. Your voice should be heard. Everyone is welcome. Next question. You have already described some of your leadership experiences. Where do you still need to improve on your leadership? I would say taking more time to reflect on a problem before I speak or act about it. So taking a step back to ensure that I listen to all the information before I respond to whatever situation or decision that I need to make. So responding versus reacting, and asking for input. That it's okay to ask those questions. It's okay to not know the answer to everything. So asking for input of other people if they've ever been in that situation before and how they dealt with it. And maybe what were some of their takeaways that they learned from that situation. As you reflect on the principles and leaders you have known, what are characteristics that you would hope to emulate, and what characteristics would you want to avoid? So things I would want to emulate would be honest and constructive feedback. So give me specifics on what I need to work on. Don't just say good job or that was a great lesson. Give me specifics. I know personally I'm always someone that wants to keep improving and keep doing well. And what are things that I can enhance with my teaching practices? What are things that I can obviously quote unquote be better at as a coach? So again, honest and constructive, even if that feedback might have to be a hard discussion to have, I would rather be honest and open and not lie to someone about, what they need to work on or what they need to improve on. Supporting all groups, you need to be seen. You can't just be stuck in your office all the time. You need to go to everything, sports, clubs, organizations. And then lastly, backing your teachers, always wanting to get their side of the story and understand their perspective and understand where things are coming from, and not just always pointing the blame and pushing everything back on teachers, just ensuring that they are heard and that they are supported and you always have their back and you're in their corner. Avoid, I talked about it already, never being seen. You're always in your office, the door is shut, not attending school functions, not even greeting the students when they enter and when they leave, or going and dealing with situations. And then lastly, not being able to regulate your emotions in front of your staff. Like I get it, everyone has a bad day, or as an administrator, you're going to be dealing with a bunch of different things. I can't even imagine during the day, but really working to keep those emotions in check and not explode on your staff, or let those little things just ruin, the rest of your day. What else should we know about you that will help us determine your success in the program? I literally understand what it means to have hundreds of people that are counting on me every day. I'm a full-time teacher with two content preps. I'm the government PLC leader and SEC curriculum rep, so I oversee a lot of curriculum changes, and I work with other government teachers across the district as well as the ones that are housed at Plainfield North. I'm the head varsity girls soccer coach, running a program that sometimes will have 3 to 4 teams at lower levels on top of running my own team from the varsity. I've been an assistant athletic director at a middle school that I worked at prior. I'm the current assistant women's soccer coach actually here at the University of St. Francis. So, like I said, I truly do understand what it's like to have hundreds of people that are counting on me every day. I can't have an off day. I always have to be here. I always have to show up, because for me, if I don't show up, I'm letting all of these people down that are counting on me. I never go into something without my full attention or my full effort. I'm always going to be asking questions to further my understanding of situations, watching others, researching, and planning as best as I possibly can when situations arise. And last but not least, I know that I still have a lot to learn, but I am the type of person that likes to, or not likes, but I learn best on the job, going through those situations, talking things out, and reflecting, and just literally working to be the best person that I possibly can be, no matter what position that I have. Thank you very much for your time, and hope you enjoyed listening to my interview.